Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Edge Sports Network. We got another interview for you guys. Today, we got Phlandrous Fleming Jr., Charleston Southern men's basketball. Phlandrous, thanks so much for joining us here on the site today.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. I mean, we're lucky to have you on. I want to start off, just basically, you growing up here. You're from Athens, Georgia. I know it's kind of a different style of play in the game of basketball all around the country. I mean, depending on what region you're from. So, growing up in Georgia, I mean, I just want to ask, what was that style of play like, in your early years?
Oh man, it was a lot of athleticism and a lot of defense, man.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of scores here. So I mean, to counter that, you got to play great defense. A lot of great scores came through
Mm-hmm.
Georgia. A lot of competition, man. A lot of great talent. So just over here, man, you just gotta play defense and score the ball because
Mm-hmm.
there's so much talent around Georgia that a lot of people don't see and a lot of people do see. So just gotta learn how to do both.
A lot of great players coming out of the Southeast. Definitely a very physical style of play as well. We've had a few guys on the site from Georgia, actually, and they've kind of said the same thing that you just said, very aggressive on both sides of the ball. I mean, growing up, was there anyone you kind of admired, anyone you kind of looked up to, either, in your personal life or just in the NBA?
Growing up, my favorite player always been Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
He's the reason I wear number 24, and just his work ethic and his grit and determination that he had. It just drives me every day, just to want to be close to like him. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Just his work ethic and the amount of hours he put in. I just want to try to mirror that and see what I can get.
I mean, that is not a bad guy at all to look up to right there. One of the best players that we've ever seen in the game. I was actually going to ask you later on in the interview if there was any backstory behind number 24. So now that you answered that, I mean, can you just talk a little bit about Kobe's influence that he's had on you kind of throughout your playing career and just in your younger days when you first started basketball?
Yeah, man. I grew up watching Kobe. He has always been the guy I always looked up to
Mhm.
because Michael Jordan was a lot of people older than me era, but
Mhm.
Kobe was my era. And the killer instinct he had, the passion he played with, everything about the way he played basketball was just made me love the game.
Mhm.
So it's just wearing that 24 means a lot to me because that's who I try to mirror my game after because I play in the mid-range game
Mhm.
and I try to be the best I can on defense, and that's basically what he did. He focuses mid-range game, easy shots to get to his spots, and he just did what he did
Mhm.
to all types of opponents. And then on the defensive end, he'll come back and take the ball from you or block the ball, and no one would go at him like he would go at them. So
Mhm.
I just want to have that intimidation and determination when I play.
He was just an absolutely killer instinct. It was amazing to watch. I grew up watching him as well, and I mean, I don't think we're gonna see anything like that for a long time in the NBA. That kind of attitude, that kind of mentality. A lot of guys are gonna carry it on, which is great. That's how his legacy is gonna live on. Guys such as yourself, that next generation, kind of just bringing that style of play to the game, which is always great. And I know you've worn the number 24 well. I mean, back in high school, you led your team to a state championship game. Guys came up a little short, but that was your senior season. You were unbelievable that year. Averaged 21 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. And I know you just kind of mentioned Kobe did, offense, defense, he did everything. You've been stuffing the stat sheet as well. First of all, I want to ask, how was the atmosphere in that championship game?
Man, it was crazy, man. I've
Mm-hmm.
never been in a place that had that many people. All the support I had in Athens, man, or have in Athens, man, is crazy. My
Uh-huh.
city uh, was all there. Everybody was there. The orange and blue, that was my high school colors,
Mm-hmm.
was crazy. It was a crazy atmosphere, man. It was a blessing to play in front of my whole city.
That's fantastic. And I know down in Georgia, from what I've heard anyway, a lot of high school basketball is pretty big, especially those championship games, and the fan support is just ridiculous. So that's really, I mean, we're based up in the Northeast, in Massachusetts. We don't really have that up here. We don't have many high schools that, are huge and produce a ton of talent. You got some guys, but it's mostly the prep schools and whatnot. So to have that experience in your high school year, I'm sure that was really special. I mean, when you have a senior season like that, how much confidence does that kind of give you going into college basketball?
Oh man, it gave me confidence to continue working, man.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I wasn't where I wanted to be after my senior year, so all I did was put my head down and worked.
Mm-hmm.
I came in with a lot of great players in front of me, and all I knew at that time and now, all I know is work. And if the next man outworks me, that's not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I knew after that season, because I knew that everybody was trying to fight for a spot. Everybody was trying to get to that starting position, and coach told me that I had a chance. So all I knew I had to do was work, and that's what I did.
You end up at Charleston Southern. I mean, what really had you, kind of focus on Charleston Southern? What led you to continue your basketball career at CSU?
Charleston Southern was there. They were my second or third offer.
Mm-hmm.
They're very the thing about me is I'm big on loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm big on consistency, and Charleston Southern was that. And once they saw me at Florida, now I played in Florida at the Disney Classic.
Mm-hmm.
They had saw me then, and after that day, they called me almost every day. They always stayed on me. They talked to my parents, and when I came down on the visit, my parents loved it. I loved it. And like the family that they have, the bond that they have created, that we have created, is unbreakable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I said, I'm big on loyalty and consistency. They were more consistent than any other school, and they were loyal. They always said that my offer would be there, mm-hmm, no matter what, and that's what I took with me. That's the reason I came to Charleston Southern.
So yeah, it seems like you built that relationship really early on before you even got on the floor. So I'm sure that really helped you. I mean, your freshman year, you instantly made a difference. Made the Big South all-freshman team. You were runner-up for freshman of the year in the conference. I mean, I want to ask you this. Do you remember what your first memory of college basketball was, whether that be a team meeting, a practice? And I mean, how did it kind of feel knowing you were in that new environment?
Oh, my first memory.
Mm-hmm.
Man, my first memory was pickup, because like when I first came in, we played a lot of pickup, because
mm-hmm,
you come in the summer to get acclimated and everything, but we played a lot of pickup, and a lot of the guys, they were stronger than me at the time,
mm-hmm,
and they showed that on the pickup, and that's what I remember every time. That's my favorite memory, was playing pickup and getting acclimated to the college speed, the college three,
mm-hmm,
and the different competition, because people were playing all over. And like you said, Georgia is a very aggressive and scoring state.
mm-hmm,
I never really played anybody from Canada or Mississippi,
mm-hmm.
So it was a good thing. That was my favorite memory, being able to see different players play different ways.
And sometimes that's a great way to start too, because you can try some new things out. You can kind of, establish a little bit of team chemistry there in those pickup games. And I feel like a lot of people kind of wonder this too, coming into college. I mean, you looked really comfortable on the floor and stuff, but obviously that's a big adjustment. What were you kind of most nervous for heading into Charleston Southern? It can be basketball related, it doesn't have to, but just heading into college in general, did you have any fears or anything you were kind of unsure about?
Only thing I was really unsure about was my strength.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was a kid coming out of Athens, and I knew that a lot of people were a lot stronger than me, and that was my biggest thing my summer of coming into Charleston. I just wanted to get stronger and be able to compete, mm-hmm, at the highest level that I could at Charleston Southern. And also off the court, it was just balancing school, mm-hmm, and basketball. That was the biggest thing for me, the biggest adjustment, because you really don't have time to do anything else, mm-hmm, except for school and basketball. The workouts, the study hall, and everything was just circles, just kept going, doing the same thing every day. So that was just the biggest adjustment for me.
I mean, yeah, it's always tough to kind of balance those two things, I would imagine. And I know you really have to prioritize, the most important things in your day, kind of plan out the week. I've talked to a lot of guys that, will write everything down on Sunday night, make sure they're ready for the week, and just go at it. And it really is an all week process, nonstop, 24/7. You're maybe not, getting as much sleep as you want to. You're tired at times in the day. So it's literally a grind for the entire year. And I know, coming into college, your first 2 seasons here, your first 2 seasons, you were fantastic. I mean, you played in 54 games with 40 starts in your underclassmen years. Was that something you were ready for? Did you expect to play that much? Because, we see guys come into college and they don't get as much play time as they kind of expect. You had plenty of time on the floor. Did you kind of expect that?
Yeah, I had expected that, man.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't came off the bench since my 9th grade year in high school.
Wow.
That was my first time coming off the bench ever. So, like, that adjustment then was kind of shaky. But when I came in, Coach told me, it was like, I don't care about being a senior, junior, sophomore. I don't care if you can play,
Mm-hmm.
you can play. And once he told me that, that's when I knew that I had the chance. I had to work harder than anybody else. I had to be in the gym more than anybody else so I could get that starting spot. So, man, I just kept working out.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach gave it to me. And that experience that I had got in my earlier years is showing up now.
Oh, yeah. For sure. I mean, your sophomore season, you had 12.5 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 40% shooting. And then your junior year, as you mentioned here, I mean, you just broke out. And you had 17.7 points per game, nearly 9 rebounds, 4 assists. You shot the ball even better at 43%. So I want to ask you here, did you kind of change anything around in that offseason going from sophomore to junior year, or was it just kind of a feeling of getting more comfortable with the team, the program, and the pace of college basketball?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say I changed anything around. I think, like, because we had when I got in, we had Christian Keelan.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knows he was a magnificent player at Charleston Southern.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew that he was the #1 scorer, and he did his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so he left, so somebody had to pick up the pace. You know what I'm saying? So I stepped into that role, I think, this year because I had to.
Mm-hmm.
We lost our #1 scorer. So I had to step into that role. But the years before, I think that I just played my role, just tried my best to do anything I could to allow for us to win. But this year, I was the #1 scorer,
Mm-hmm.
and the offense basically ran through me. So I think having that chance to show off my abilities more was due to my #1 scorer leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I had to.
I mean, you not only stepped up scoring-wise and just statistically as a whole, you've really been a workhorse in your junior season. You quite often play 40 minutes per game, high 30s. I know you even played 49 minutes in a double overtime win against Gardner-Webb this past season. I have to ask this, I mean, how do you have that stamina and that drive to just kind of power through, keep the energy up, keep the intensity up, even after you've been on the floor for 35 plus minutes?
Man, that's what like we were just talking about when I had got recruited, Charleston Southern. They said they love my scoring and my defense, but they love my motor the most.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I have gained over the years, man, being able to fight through fatigue and play as much as you can because winning is more important than your tiredness.
Mm-hmm.
That was always the mentality I kept. I don't care how tired I am. If I can get to that finish line and get to that win, I can rest then. But playing 40 minutes a game or 35 plus, it was hard this year, but I had to.
Yeah, I mean,
our team was low down and low in players, and we had a lot of injuries. So whatever it takes to win, that's the mentality I always had and I always will have. No complaining, just do it.
I mean, you don't see a lot of guys in the NBA playing that much, on a given night, let alone, I mean, a college guy. Listen, I don't know the statistics on every guy's, minutes in the NCAA, but I would have to assume you're definitely up there, in the top 10, top 5 even. I mean, that motor that you have is unbelievable. The stamina you have is unbelievable, especially when you're playing at this Division I level. You just don't see it much. And I mean, you've gotten so much playtime, as we mentioned, in your first 3 years here. Are there any games that have kind of stood out to you? Any games that are really memorable that you'll always kind of remember for the rest of your career, rest of your life?
Yeah. Probably my. I have a couple games that are the most memorable at
Mm-hmm.
Charleston Southern, man. One of them is the most recent one. One of the most recent ones where I had my first collegiate triple double,
Mm-hmm.
and my guy Didi almost broke the record for most threes in the game. That's my roommate. So we came
Oh,
in
wow.
together, and we came in together, and we always talked about like stuff like this, like you gonna shoot all the threes and I'm gonna pass you all the passes. Like we always talked about stuff like that in our room, and also the Gardner Webb game you was talking about. I was
Mm-hmm.
so close to the one of the best performances I ever put on in my life. But yeah, those two games, man, those were one for the books, man. One that I always remember.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you got to carry those with you, just for the rest of your life right there. And I mean, I'm sure those are big
Definitely.
confidence boosters too when you think back on those games. Kind of helps out in those times where, you might feel fatigued, you might feel tired, gives you a little extra motivation right there. And I mean, you're entering your senior season here. I mean, this is really the culmination of your college career before you head to that next level. So, I mean, I want to ask you, what are some goals you have for yourself and for the team this upcoming season?
Oh, this upcoming season, man. First of all, man, I want us to all be healthy,
Yep.
no injuries for once in our career, and we can all just play together. And that would be the number one goal I have for us. But the second goal I have, of course, is to win the division. We have, I mean, not the division, the conference. We have the players, we have the experience, we have everything to be able to win this conference, and I also would like for everyone to basically work as hard as they can.
Mm-hmm.
For myself, I personally want to win Player of the Year, of course,
Mm-hmm.
if I can. And if I don't, it's all good. But that's my number one goal as a personally. And yeah, have better numbers than last year. Shoot better from the three.
Mm-hmm. I
Top
mean,
goal for me.
oh yeah, always good to have those goals for your senior year. You always want to finish on a very high note. And I know, after this, I mean, college basketball, it's gonna be in the past for you. I mean, what are you kind of gonna miss most about college basketball and Charleston Southern once your time here is up?
Whew, man, just the camaraderie, man.
Mm-hmm.
Charleston Southern, like I said, is a family school, and that's probably the thing I'm gonna miss the most. My brothers, playing with my brothers, but just the competition level and being able to fight through those good times and
Mm-hmm.
see the people that you play with every day and just those type of things, man. The love that we show each other and being able to fight through fatigue and like we had 7 players. Being able to remember that,
Mm-hmm.
like looking back on that, that's just amazing what we did with the 7 players we had.
Mm-hmm.
We got down to. So those type of memories that I'm gonna remember forever.
I mean, you guys seem to have a very strong camaraderie, very strong brotherhood, and that always makes the team better as a whole. And if you could kind of just describe your style of play in 3 words, I know you're probably going to have, something related to your upbringing in Georgia here, something kind of with Charleston Southern, but if you could describe that play style that you have in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
Ooh, that's tough. I would probably say passion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm very passionate about what I love and um, resilient.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and whew, third word. That's tough.
Yeah, there's a lot of words to choose from. It's a tough question.
Yeah, passionate, resilient, and probably competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Competitive. Yeah. Passionate, resilient, and competitive.
I think those are a good 3 words right there to describe your style of play, no doubt about it. That all 3 words that you just chose have shown on the court, in college, in high school.
Thank you.
And I definitely think, as you mentioned, I think it started in Georgia. There's no doubt about it. And I want to, to close up here, I always like to ask one fun question and then one question that is a little bit thought provoking. You might have thought about it before, you might have not. But the first question here, if you could pick any NBA player, past or present, to have on your team as a teammate, who would it be and why?
Any teammate that I would want on my team. Whew. Um. Whew. I would love a player like Dennis Rodman.
Wow, that's a good choice.
The Bulls Dennis Rodman, because he is a workhorse, and he, even though he had all the other stuff going on with him in and out of the Chicago Bulls and crazy stuff, but on the court he brought his 100% every game.
Mm-hmm.
He knew his role, and he played it to the best of his ability. So Dennis Rodman would be my guy.
That's a great choice right there. And I think one thing that you kind of touched upon here with Rodman is he had all this stuff going on off the court, but it's like when he got on the court, all that stuff kind of went away. And you just looked at him like a basketball player. Came out there, performed every night, was definitely a key part to those championship teams, no doubt about it. Key part to Jordan's career as well. So Dennis Rodman, really good choice right there. You're the first one to say that too, so definitely a good answer. And I gotta ask you, to close up here. I mean, the college career is coming to a close. You're headed to the next step very soon. I mean, so what are your plans kind of for the future post-college basketball? What would be the ideal situation for Phlandrous Fleming Jr., 3 to 5 years down the road?
The ideal situation, man, always as a kid, my goal was to get to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a lot of different kids, a lot of everybody's dream, but that is my number one goal as of right now. Is still to get to the NBA. 3 to 5 years, I'm hopeful to be playing for an NBA team and producing for an NBA team. But if that does not work out, I want to play professionally somewhere. So, but the NBA is the only goal I see right now, and if it is God's will, then I'll get there. So that's my number one.
You've certainly set yourself up in the ideal spot to get to that next step right there. I'm sure this season is going to be great for you. I'm sure you're looking forward to it. Just kind of to finish up here. Congrats on a great junior season as well, and best of luck next year to you. And Phlandrous, thanks so much for joining us here on the site today. It was great to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me, man. Thank you. Love what you're doing.
No problem at all. Thanks so much. We really do appreciate that here over at the site. We'd love to have you on anytime, have you on again in the future, for sure. And we're going to make sure to put your Twitter right down below so people can follow your career, follow this season at Charleston Southern and beyond. And we'll also put a link to Charleston Southern's basketball page down below as well, so you guys can go follow them for news and updates. But guys, thanks so much for joining us here on Edge Sports Network today. And as always, we'll see you guys next time.